next one up in the Zack Snyder retrospective series leading up to Rebel Moon is none other than the Spartan film itself, 300. Now, we're going to talk about this visual spectacle, and I want to know your thoughts on 300 as well. Maybe you're one of the people that didn't like it. Maybe you're one of the people that absolutely love it. Let me know in the comment section below. Smash that like button, click subscribe. It will mean an absolute massive amount to me if you guys do that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into Zack Snyder's 300 right now. 300, the movie where 300 Spartans go on a journey to take on a Persian army like none other, to take on the man that calls himself a god. Can they succeed? That is what this movie is all about. This is what Zack Snyder has brought to the big screen, is this insane war epic historic film. I mean, let's be real. Okay, let's just start here. If you're going into this movie, watching 300, expecting it to be this factual retelling of an historic event that happened in history, then this isn't going to be the movie for you. Because what Zack Snyder does in this movie is he takes elements from those stories, takes elements from the book, and embellishes so much in this to create an action war film. That's what this movie is. So don't go in there expecting you want to be known as, I want to see the most historic representation, the accurate one. That's not what this movie is about. And nor do I want that movie to be about this. Because what Zack Snyder gave us is exactly what I wanted from a movie called 300, with 300 Spartans walking into battle to fight an absolute insane army of Persians. Like, that's exactly what I wanted, and that's exactly what Zack Snyder delivered. Now, this movie, like we said in Dawn of the Dead, in the last one, Zack Snyder, man, I don't care if you don't like his writing. I don't care if you don't like the way he writes his characters. You cannot deny the fact that the man can create some of the best imagery in cinema history. This movie is spectacularly grand on the freaking screen. It is so gorgeous. Some of the shots in this film, I'm just sitting there gobsmacked at how beautiful they are. They really are. Like the one shot with the Persian army there. It just shows you the grand scope of what the Spartans are about to deal with. It shows you that. The ships on the water, that was absolutely gorgeous as well. What I also love is what he did with the imagery, is the use of black and white in this film. When it goes night, he uses the black and white filter to, use that colorization to showcase you that it's night. And I love that aspect of it. And then when we come back to the daytime, it's still that darky, murky sort of colorization to the screen, but you can see the color in it. But I think having it be this color just works so well with how dark and gritty this story really is. Like, we're talking about 300 guys standing up to a warlord who's trying to take over the world, and they're going to their death with 300 soldiers. Like, this isn't a happy ending story. This isn't like a story about fairy tales. This isn't a colorful story. This is a dark, gritty story. And that's what Zack Snyder portrays in his imagery in this film. And there are so many shots that are just absolutely phenomenal. The battle sequences are epic on scale. We get to see Zack Snyder, what he is infamously known as, the slow-mo man. And we see that in this film. This is where he really brings the slow-mo in, and it works so well in this film. Especially in this battle sequence where Leonidas is running through, and it's just slow-mo of him just ripping people to shreds. It's insanely satisfying, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I think Zack Snyder used the slow-mo very well in this movie. Like, obviously, there's that iconic moment that we all know and love. This is Sparta, where he kicks the messenger down into the big giant well. Slow-mo there. The slow-mo of the boats on the water crashing. Absolutely phenomenal. The battle sequences, when they're throwing the spears and that. Absolutely brilliant as well. That's what I love, is when he uses the slow-mo appropriately and in the correct positions. And he did that in this movie. Because I feel like when the slow-mo is on, it enhances that sequence. And like the Leonidas going through and just absolutely slaughtering these Persians was absolutely phenomenal. And that slow-mo just adds that extra bit for me. What I also love is he didn't shy away from the blood and gore. There is a lot of blood and gore in this movie, and that's how it should be. Because we're dealing with times back in those times where people are getting their arms chopped off, their heads chopped off, and, you know, feet chopped off. And Zack does a brilliant job at showcasing you that when the sequence happens, especially in the slow-mo moments where the sword comes through and cuts the limb completely off. It's incredible, and I really love it. And then the blood splatter everywhere. Brilliant. The wall itself, when the Spartans make the wall with the Persian army in it, it's gruesome, but it's absolutely insane as well, because you just see that these Spartans are like, yeah, we don't care who you are. We'll disrespect you. We'll do whatever we have to do to protect our lands. And I absolutely love the imagery of that, with that wall and everything, just absolutely phenomenal. The costume design and the design of creatures and stuff in this movie, absolutely brilliant. The Immortals. Let's talk about the Immortals, man. I love that moment where they're like, King Leonidas is like, Immortals, hey? Well, we'll put their name to the test. Like, that is such a badass line. But when you see the Immortals, I love the design of them and how they look. And then when the face gets revealed of what they are, I love that idea. That they're not actually humans. Like they're not really humans. They're like these goblin sort of like orc-looking fellas that are just like meant to be these killing machines that you can't kill. And I love that whole sequence when they actually clash in battle. But it's the costumes of them that just look absolutely fantastic. And then you have the creatures that we see as well throughout the film. You know, they all look incredible. And it's just absolutely insane. And then you get to the main villain himself. And I love how they chose that. Like, that idea of him having, like, the gold around him, like, you know, the piercings and everything like that. Because it makes sense, because this guy sees himself as a divine being. He sees himself as a god. So it makes sense that he has all this gold and everything like that. And when he comes in that gigantic chair with all these people holding it up, and as he walks down to the ground, people have to come in so he can step on him. It just shows you how much this guy thinks he is above everyone. And it's a beautiful image when you're seeing it come towards you as well. But man, it is absolutely insane. And it looks aesthetically great. And it feels like you're in those times as well. And as for Sparta itself, the design of the Spartans I like as well, especially with showcasing that these guys are warriors. And I think that come off really, really well. So for me, that all worked as well. When we get to the characters themselves, Leonidas is absolutely a fantastic character. And you're rooting for this guy the whole entire time. The guy that is willing to define this warlord, you're on board with it. And when you see the Spartans fight for the very first time and you see how efficient they are, you instantly start to love them. Michael Fassbender in this movie, I totally forgot he was in this movie, but he is freaking phenomenal in this movie. And just the captain, him, and the captain's son, and then Leonidas, when you see them all doing battle with each other, you start to care for them because you can feel the mateship between them all, and you want them to live. And it's insane, but the performances are great as well. Like, Gerard Butler, absolutely superb as Leonidas. He just feels that presence. Like, you feel like when he's on screen as Leonidas, you're like, yeah, this is a guy you don't want to mess with. You don't want to mess with this guy. And then obviously Michael Fassbender, man, he's just so incredible in this movie. Absolutely fantastic. And then obviously Lena Headey as the queen. She is phenomenal in this movie. Completely different queen to how she plays in Game of Thrones. Because in Game of Thrones, she's complete and utter bitch and you don't want her to die. But in this one, you're rooting for her. And I think she's fantastic in this as well. And she really portrays a Spartan woman in such a way that makes you go, okay, this is why, like, you don't want to mess with the Spartans, because it's not just their soldiers, but it's like the women, the other people there, they're proud and they're willing to do anything they can for their king. So I love all that. I love the story behind 300 as well. I really like the narrative here of 300 soldiers, the best of the best, going up against, you know, not necessarily to win the war, but to show everyone in Greece that they're just normal people. And like Leonidas says to, you know, Xerxes, he says to him, I'm just going to show everyone that a god can bleed. And that's what he does. His ultimate objective was to show everyone in Greece, this guy can bleed. How can he be a god if he can bleed? And I love that narrative. And when he succeeds at the end there, sacrificing himself, it's just absolutely beautiful because you get that moment and it's like, okay, so they may not have won here in this battle, but what they did is they showed everyone in Greece not to fear these people. You know, these guys took out so many people, and then you get, obviously they send back the guy who lost the eye to go get the rest of the soldiers to come and fight, and that's the cliffhanging ending, is like this big battle is about to happen. But it's just such a great narrative, and I really enjoyed it, and the characters are great as well, and it's just phenomenal. And then I cannot not talk about the moment where the Persians threaten them with the arrows. We're going to shoot so many arrows that it's going to block out the sun. And when that actual scene happens, it happens twice. It's insane. And Zack Snyder, I think, did an absolutely superb job at showcasing that scene. And showcasing you just how insane those arrows going up and blocking out the sun really is. So to me, the imagery in this film is just absolutely stunning. Like, Zack Snyder is visually one of the best in the world. Like, he just brings visually so good. It's just absolutely incredible. His film is gorgeous. 300 is gorgeous. I really enjoyed it. The wolf, I love the design of the wolf and the way that it was created at the start of the movie. It looks menacing. It looks like it's from the gods. It looks like something that, you know, not many people have ever killed, if anyone. So that was really good imagery as well. But overall, man, I really enjoyed 300. I think it's just such a fun ride. It is such a fun ride. You know, it's brutal, it's bloody, it's gory, and it's one that I absolutely love. So let me know what you guys think of 300. Do you like it? Is it your favorite Zack Snyder movie? Maybe it's not. I don't know. But let me know what you guys thought. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.